welcome back. We're still discussing immigration, and I hear we have Mr. Dayo Fadina back with us, an immigration lawyer from the UK. And just before the break, he was telling us how the British government is handling the issue of long-term illegal immigrants living in the UK at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Sorry for the short break. What I was actually trying to explain is the fact that the British government at this point in time is not really handling the illegal immigrant situation. And I should think this all on the government to do something about this. And they're not doing anything about this in view of, the Windrush scandal we had some months ago. And we also had the situation to do with the base hostile environment mantra. Why should the for this reason that but one thing that you have to consider is what do you do with about 2-3 million illegal? Okay, you cannot hide. I mean, you will have to do something, because sooner or later, what would then happen is, if you are burying your head in the sand and not doing anything about it, the problem would compound in the future. So the government would truly and really have to do something about this.
So some politicians, like former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, have asked the British government to introduce an amnesty for illegal immigrants who have spent over 10 years in the UK in the wake of the Windrush scandal. Do you see this happening?
Well, at this point in time, no, I don't see this happening. But one thing is for sure, that people like Boris Johnson, he is a very big puncher in the Tory party. And whether the government likes it or not, they would actually have to listen to him. And the man is speaking common sense. Hate him or love him, the man is speaking very good sense about the situation to do with illegal immigrants in the UK. He's aware. I mean, I remember some years ago too, when he was the mayor of London, he more or less said the same thing, and he's repeating what he actually said some years ago. Something would have to be done about this. He actually mentioned very clearly to the British government some years ago that, look, if you failed woefully and chronically in getting rid of illegal immigrants in the UK, the only best thing you should be doing is to try to regularize the stay of most of these people, so they could at least earn a reasonable income in the UK and contribute to the UK. As we speak right now, the millions the billions of pounds actually being brought into the British economy by the immigrants. We cannot really say we want to actually run away from that. The evidence is very, very clear. So of course he was actually talking sense when he recommended that something should be done about illegal immigrants.
It seems like Britain and even the whole of the Western world is anti-immigrant at the moment due to issues of terrorism, religion, race, and so on. What benefits, if any, do immigrants bring or can bring to these countries where they settle or seek asylum?
Well, first of all, not all immigrants are terrorists. Not all immigrants are criminals. In fact, if we are to go by the percentage of the number of immigrants who are in this country who are not obeying the laws in this country, they are very, very insignificant. It is very, very low. And the truth of the matter is this. When we look at the National Health Service today, if all immigrants should withdraw their services today from the National Health Service, the truth of the matter is the National Health Service will collapse. That's the truth. Because the immigrants make a very high number, a very, very significant number of people working within the NHS. Likewise, the hospitality industry. And you also have some very, very highly skilled immigrants working in all other industries in the UK. So they've actually brought value, and they've brought their skills and value to the economy of the UK, whether we like it or not, or whether the British government wants to accept this or not. So for them to, and we also have so many illegal immigrants in this country who also have so much to contribute, professionals, businessmen, doctors, engineers, and all the rest of them. So it makes sense for the British government to consider the issue of illegal immigrants and give a one-off amnesty to anybody who has actually been in this country for more than 10 years.
So what options are available to them to regularize their stay, even if the government doesn't want to grant them amnesty?
Oh, yeah, there's so many rules and immigration rules and regulations that would allow you to actually remain in the UK, even if you've been living in this country illegally for so many years. A few of them are if you are married to a British citizen and you've lived in this country for so many years illegally, and you could actually show that the relationship is genuine, you could actually stay in this country. If you have a 7-year-old child who has lived in this country for so many years, even if the parents have been illegal, you could remain in this country. If you've been in this country for 20 years or more illegally, there is an application you could also make to the Home Office to be able to regularize your stay in the UK. There are youngsters who have been in this country and who have spent more than half of their life in this country. If you are in between the ages of 18 and 25 and you fall within that category, even if you've been in this country illegally, you could regularize. We also have the situation with asylum seekers who have been in this country for so many, asylum, refugee people who have been in this country for so many years. You could make an application if you fall within an asylum situation where maybe for political reasons, social reasons, national reasons, you could remain in this country. So there are still so many other avenues that you could make use of.
Immigration lawyer, Mr. Dayo Fadina, I'm glad we could have this conversation. Thanks for joining us on the program. Thank you. In Egypt, ongoing demolition on the Nile is putting a squeeze on 2 Cairo districts and their residents. President al-Sisi's policy on urban development has sent many to Asmarata, a crowded housing complex on the desert outskirts that they say will render them jobless.
Hisham Abu El-Ela is a resident of Cairo's Maspero, a part of Cairo that overlooks the Nile River. He looks outside the window onto the wasteland of rubble, where the houses of his neighbors were cleared of slum housing earlier this year. Across the river, impoverished residents of red brick homes on the island of Warak nervously await their fate after Maspero was bulldozed this summer. Both areas are earmarked for tourism or business development, part of efforts by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to attract investment and boost an economy still reeling after Egypt's Arab Spring upheaval of 2011. Since taking office in 2014, al-Sisi has sought to transform Cairo, building a new administrative capital on its outskirts and aiming to turn the city center into an investor's dream.
It all started last Ramadan. We woke up on the first day of Ramadan and found a paper hung on our building, informing us we had to evacuate the building within 15 days. We asked what this was about, and we were told that the entire area was given a demolition order to the Maspero Triangle. We were aware that the Maspero Triangle is the slum right behind us, but we were shocked when we found they had issued the order and included us with the Maspero Triangle as if we too were slums. They ranked us all equally.
Put under pressure from President al-Sisi to transform those areas, authorities have either attempted forced evictions or offered compensation in money or property. Officials say the thousands evacuated are making way for projects that will bring prosperity to all Egyptians and that residents will return when development is completed. But inhabitants are not convinced.
We welcome the development of the country because Egypt is our home, and we are for development. But give us our rights. We aren't objecting, but give us what we deserve. Make sure people leave this place happy.
Warak has seen the strongest local resistance to evictions. A protester died in clashes last year between residents and security forces who came to demolish homes.
That's it on the program. Thanks for watching. I'm Teniola Shoboale.